Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. My name's Kanan and this is my review for Spectrolite. And this review is for the Nintendo Switch, but you can also find it on the PC, i.e. Steam, and also on the major ones like PS4 and the like. And it's around about £12.99 or $12.59 and $13.99, or your equivalent. Spectrolite is basically a parkour and speedrunner's dream. And I have played many of these in the past, but what struck me on Spectrolite is, well, the way it looks and feels. It's really stylized, for want of a better word. But I'll come back to that in a bit. Okay, so basically the controls are actually really simple. It is your basic run, jump and try to land as many, well, lands as you can. And trust me, this can be great difficult at times because they throw so many different elements into the game eventually. Starting off simple, just jumping from platform to platform, trying to work out which way to go and going through the odd door and the like, to suddenly having to wall run and jump through portals and get catapulted here and there. It all really does start off tame, but after a while it really does start to get really complicated. Did I mention it's really hard too? Yeah, I think I did. As for the controls, well, they are actually quite decent. Pretty simple, I'll admit. Although I will mention one thing. I'd go into the settings and I'd change the default control settings because, well, basically my finger kept on slipping on the reset button and resetting me, which is rather annoying when you get past the bit that you've been trying to do for a while and then go back to where you didn't want to go. But once I've changed the settings, it was all steam ahead, which was pretty decent because they are actually quite tight controls, but then again, they're quite simple controls. Okay, so I think it's time for a bit of show and tell. Basically because the controls are rather simple, as I said, but there are other things that you gain or can do as you go through. Like this. So you jump into one of these circles and then you have to press the fire button or the jump button again, and then it pauses you within them, and then you have to kind of like make yourself in the places that you need to be going. And then there's these, and these are the wall run things. These are actually quite difficult to get past. I've had a lot of trouble doing these, and I'm not really ashamed to say. But if you can see, that pinpoint thing is very small. I mean, you can barely see it. Hey! And there we go. That is actually the first time I've gotten past that. That is awesome. As you can see, it does look really good. Back to me, I suppose. And if you're into your speed running, there is a time trial mode, and well, that does what it says on the tin. There is also online leaderboards, which is pretty cool, although you'll probably not see me too high on them. But I will say that the game does do a good job of keeping me interested in playing it. As the gameplay, well, kind of not telling a story, it kind of like progresses and kind of like puts you into different situations, and the actual environments are really nice. And this kind of is the thing that really puts this game ahead of other games that I've played. The environments are actually really diverse. Starting you off in like a black and white themed area. I really do like the blocks and everything, the like minimalisticness of it all. And then leading you off to like a city type place with scaffolding all over the place and buildings to run off the side of. The gameplay just feels mysterious and fun as well. It kind of like takes me back to that certain EA game that, well, they tried to reboot recently, but this game's done a bit more openly. And I have to admit, while that works really well, it also makes it rather difficult, or more difficult than the other game that I mentioned. I think if I had any bugbears about this game, it would be the fact that sometimes you have to be a little bit too precise, and sometimes you'll land something but you won't land where you're meant to be and end up running on top of something I don't think you're meant to be on top of. And also, whilst I said that the controls were very precise and everything, which they are, it's just the fact that sometimes it's a little bit fiddly for what they're asking you to do. and sometimes I did end up having to reset purely because of the aim pointer not being able to quite see where it is, therefore not being able to quite see where you're going to be jumping or catapulting yourself to, which means that in the end you kind of misjudged it and fell to your certain demise. This is quite unfortunate at times and doesn't break the game per se, but occasionally when it's not your fault it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But apart from that, I did have a lot of fun with this one, and still having a bit of fun with it, to be honest. Okay, so I've mentioned the looks of the game and how much they are very stylized, and they are quite pretty in places. Sound wise, the soundtrack is actually decent. I do enjoy it. I didn't turn it down. It's very atmospheric at some stages. And although the sound effects are kind of minimalistic in a way, they are very atmospheric. They're actually pretty decent and really do capture the atmosphere of the game quite well. And so let's mosey on over to the score. In short, Spectrolite is a really stylized, really fun, really kind of like different feeling parkour platformer that really is quite simple in concept but really difficult to actually perfect the gameplay. It's one of those ones that will take you a long time, and sometimes a long time just to get past these little sections. And the fact that it looks very stylized and the sound and soundtrack is pretty cool as well has all led me up to giving this one a 8 out of 10. And I'm pretty sure I'm safe by actually recommending this to people that are into this sort of genre, and maybe people that aren't, that kind of want to get into this sort of genre. And with that, that is your lot. Thank you for joining me. It's been great having you here. Take care of yourselves. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Do not forget to come and join us in our community Discord. Link is down below. Thank you very much, because life is better when we game together.